Hello, welcome to the September 2015 online edition of Kula Yoga Shala's teacher feature. We are interviewing our newest teacher, Dave McLeod, this month, and Dave teaches beach yoga on A1A and Marcinski Road on Thursdays at 6:30 p.m. When the time change comes in the fall, we'll move to 5:30. And Dave is a recent graduate of our teacher training program, and we're here to get to know him a little bit better. So, thank you for doing this, Dave.
It's a pleasure.
I wanted to, do this first off just to give people a sense about you, and especially being new to teaching here and everything. Maybe people don't know you as well yet, and this is going to go out in our newsletter for the beginning of the month and everything. And so, maybe just to give people first just a sense of your relationship to yoga in general. How you connect to the path.
My practice started when I lost a really cool job that I had, and I had been attending the slackline and acro yoga class with Kyle and Chris, which was just a whole lot of fun. It was a lot of playtime. And then when I had something heavy on my shoulders, I decided to explore the classes inside, and that really opened the door and began my yoga practice. And of course, in a class with people, I've never done this before. It was a lot of adjusting, and a lot of things getting used to in the body and the mind and the breath. And eventually I came to practice 3, 4, sometimes 5 times a week, and I knew within a short period of time that I wanted to teach this. I've always had the drive to be a teacher, and in all of my jobs I like passing on knowledge and experience that I've had, sharing it with others. So this was a very, very deep and much more profound experience, and I really knew that I wanted to pass that on and to teach.
So when you talk about in terms of the depth and how profound it was, like, what do you think is, like, what's that about in terms of, like, what's your personal connection to the depth, or how do you experience it? And in earlier conversations we were talking about just like the mind-body connection and kind of that aligning, in a deeper sense.
Well, yoga being just union and not making the union because it's already there. It's more uncovering the things that are clouding the light that sheds on that union. When you connect with the breath and you get into the body, a lot of times it helps you to get out of the mind and to be truly spiritual and to connect on a deeper level. In a lot of ways, you do have to be a little bit out of your mind. You have to get out of the sense mind that keeps you wrapped up in the everything popping and going on here and now. And when you enter that space and you do it frequently enough, there's a lot of healing that takes place. There's a lot of widening of the scope of your worldview and just your vision altogether about life and about what we are and who we are, what we're made out of, and what we're here for. And it's just very deep and very profound, and still exploring it. This has been going on in 3 years that I'll have established my practice, and the scope just keeps getting wider, and I love sharing it with others.
That's cool. I'm glad you love sharing it, because I want to probe a little more, if that's cool. I wanted to ask you just kind of about your journey, and you said a couple of things in there that provoked interest, and one is just like that it's a journey, and two, that it's been a good journey of healing. And then you also said, when it's like truly spiritual. And so I wanted to get a sense for you how, it's kind of a 2-part question. I guess the first part is how this journey has unfolded for you from your upbringing to now, and the way you've explored the whole topic or subject of spirituality in these different forms in your life. And the second part would be how all of your personal experience then is beginning to inform the way you teach yoga or share yoga, if that's more comfortable.
Sure, it's all very, very big. As far as the worldview and standpoint, religion goes from, I was raised in a very conservative Christian faith family, and I'm grateful for that because it taught me a whole lot about that kind of belief system and that mentality. And the beautiful thing about yoga is that whatever you bring in is what you bring into it. Your beliefs do not have to be swayed whatsoever, and neither are any of the teachers trying to do that or trying to influence you in any way to believe a certain set of beliefs. It's a great tradition that's been passed down, for millennia, and it's a very freeing and liberating practice. So when you find yourself becoming liberated, as I did, what you choose to do with your belief system, whether it was of your choosing or whether it was instilled in you from a young age, that is your decision. I chose to move on, and not everyone does that, and that's cool. That's what's great about yoga, is nobody is influencing you either way.
So then, to the second part, then you have that sense of, it's like from your upbringing, you've always been connected to spirituality, and now it seems like you've almost like found your place in it, and then being that you've been exposed to all these different paths, and then I always think like what's cool about teaching a yoga class is there's a room full of people, you have no idea what their faith is, what type of worldviews and faith belief systems they have. So I feel like that puts you in a really special place, that you can connect and to different people of different kind of religious persuasions, non-religious, whatever it may be. And so I wondered, because you've touched on some interesting points, like you have a really like physical alignment-based detailed practice, but you also really connect to these deeper teachings, and then seeing how you're putting them into play in your life. I'm wondering how all of that gets put together into this 90-minute thing called a yoga class. And I know you're newer to teaching, and but I wondered if you could speak to that.
It's as far as teaching all that and involving all the layers that make up our being in a class, it's definitely an art that I'm certainly very new at and working on. And to attend the other classes here is just fantastic, because you have teachers who have been doing this for a long time. They're masters, and I've learned from so many of them, just so much, and you'll see it show up in my teaching, because it's something I've learned from them, and it's something I've found to be true, and it's something I love passing on. But the deeper connections, as far as myself and the yoga tradition in my past, are really interesting, because as my worldview began to expand, as I began to let go of things that no longer served me, this expanding, it's almost as if you're widening the aperture on a lens of a camera, and it just hasn't stopped for me. It's just continually getting bigger and bigger, and
Infinitely expands.
allowing myself to really view us for what we are, as far as spiritual beings, has been great, because there's a difference between following a set of rules and being scared into doing it, and then having a set of teachings. Just go, here you go, try them out, see what works for you, and experience what they have to offer. And that's what's great about it. In order to experience what these teachings have to offer, you have to do the practice. It doesn't mean you're subscribed to the teachings or you buy into a belief system. It just means it's like driving a car. You have to get in it and go in order to experience what that particular vehicle has to offer, and that's what the teachings are. The vehicles go from one place to another.
That's awesome. Well said. And so if people are interested in coming to your beach class, what should they expect?
Well, I like to teach alignment, because number one, it keeps us safe. It keeps our bodies from injuring. And when you apply the alignment principles to your personal practice in every class, you strengthen the joints that are often injured by poor alignment. And so keeping my students safe is something that I really like. And having them also take something away that they can apply in any other class. So we don't do a huge amount of poses, but the ones we do, I do my best to cue everyone through the alignment of. And I believe it does make for a stronger body and stronger joints. And it also gets the mind into the body and really, really makes that connection between the mind, body, and spirit. So that's what I love to teach.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, man. I wish you all the best as you're just getting started, on this journey teaching, and knowing kind of what's in you and what this path of teaching has. It's a beautiful marriage. So
Thanks.
yeah, man. Namaste.
Namaste, man. I'm happy to be here.
Me too.